I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Views from the friend zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Yeah. Welcome to another edition of the Views from the Friend Zone podcast. It's your boy Real Talk Marv, who I got in the building with me.
It's your boy Clip Rock Bernard.
Yeah. Happy Sunday, y'all. It's a beautiful Sunday out there. You know, I know people about to start acting a fool. The thought outfits about to come out. You know what I'm saying? But it's good. You know, playoff basketball, man. For those who's watching, man, it's amazing. It's amazing. LeBron looked like he's not gonna go to the finals for like the 8th time in a row.
Drew Holiday looking like an MVP candidate right now. Hey, man,
shout out to New Orleans and Philly. Those young boys, like, yo, it's our time now. The NBA is in good hands.
Anthony Davis is the truth.
You know what I'm saying? And so is Embiid and Ben Simmons. It looks really good. You know what I mean? And then Milwaukee tied it up with Boston. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they did?
Yeah.
When?
Today. It's 2
they won 10? Oh, okay.
2 up. You know
so
what I'm
it's
saying?
serious.
And even Toronto and Washington don't look like it's going to be as easy as it was because Washington blew them boys out yesterday.
The game is tonight, right? Or it is going on now?
No. Their next game, I think, is Monday. But anyway, you know, so playoff basketball is going on. You know, the weather's nice and stuff like that. But, you know, I had to talk about a serious issue that happened last week. Last week we didn't get to touch on because we already had the subjects in, so I want to talk about it now. And the subject that I want to talk about is like the cost of being black. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like no matter what, anytime a black person's involved with an incident, we have to prove ourselves to be innocent. We have to prove ourselves to not be the bad person. It could happen to us.
Yeah.
Even with the whole Starbucks situation, people are going crazy like, oh, why Starbucks got to close to train? Because racist stuff is happening to people, and it's not an isolated incident. You know what I'm saying? So what do you feel about that situation before I jump into the show?
The situation that happened, the Starbucks situation in general, is a very disgusting situation. You know, basically discrimination was going on at Starbucks, but to close Starbucks to retrain the staff is. Some people, I'm not trying to make excuses, but some people are not educated enough to know how to go about it. So they might only been around their race. So that's what happened with the situation.
Isolated.
Yeah,
so
people
before we have the full-fledged conversation, let me jump into the show. So the first topic of the show was called the cost of being black. You know what I'm saying? It seems like there's an unknown or a hypothetical black tax that, you know, no matter what situation we're in, it just costs us more.
Yeah.
You know, for us to thrive in our jobs, we have to, like, we can't really be ourselves. We always got to kind of, like, hear crazy things happen at work, and you kind of just got to, like, laugh it off or don't let it bother you. You know what I'm saying? You move into a certain neighborhood, and it's just like everybody's free in that neighborhood, but if you're the only black person in that neighborhood, you kind of feel like you can't let your hair down, per se. You got to be a little...
You got to act a certain way.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you know, it's like, the cost of being black is so high. So first question is, after the Starbucks situation, we realized we can be arrested for literally being black. Have you ever experienced such kind of racism? Maybe not being arrested, but like blatant racism that's just like, are you serious?
A couple of times. I mean, if you're driving a foreign car, you might be pulled over for something. A couple of times when I'm driving to school, coming back from school from Pennsylvania, get pulled over, random search and stuff, what you call it. And, you know, there's a couple of racism stuff that happened to me, but, you know, like, I don't look at it and take it personal because I know what kind of world we live in, what society is about. So you always try to characterize and keep yourself, even when it's a bad situation, act as a certain class, so that you can't make a situation worse. Because, you know, certain racism...
You have to do whatever it takes to survive that
exactly.
situation.
Certain racism is leading to people dying, so you got to be careful. So now you got even when you know it's not right, you still got to try to act a certain way and be, you know, like, not even just in a work setting, just be professional about it when the situation is going about it, because you don't know how people's gonna react, especially when dealing with cops.
It's crazy. I've been through several, different racist type situations. I went to college in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about Buffalo is Buffalo's like the second largest city in New York State.
Yeah.
But the suburbs of Buffalo are so segregated, like Tonawanda and Amherst. These towns are like, they don't say racist, they say segregated. They're like the most segregated populations in the country. They're like top 10, top 20. So it's just like growing up and going in college, I got pulled over. I always tell people this. While I was in school, I got pulled over by the cops 10 times while I was in college. You know how many tickets I got? 0. Want to know why? They just pulled me over just to mess with me. Young black kid in the car, driving around. One time, I got pulled over and the cop said, "You look like you're rushing to a fight. What's going on?" And I'm like, I wasn't driving fast. He's like, "Oh no, you wasn't driving fast, but you wasn't speeding, but you seemed like you was rushing somewhere." And I'm just like, okay, you're not giving me a speeding ticket, but I look like I'm rushing somewhere. Then he said, "Look like you're rushing to a fight," and I'm just like, where's the fight at? How do I look like I'm rushing to the fight? You know what I'm saying? Another time in Buffalo, the college students will always rent out different places to have parties. Obviously, sometimes you can't afford to have a party in the club, so they rented out a hall. And I guess we got there too early. And when we got to the hall, it was like the end of a bingo night or something. And then a little old white lady grabbed me by the arm and said, "Sonny, you don't belong here. What are you doing here?" Mind you, this lady was less than 5 feet. She was old. She had a walker and stuff like that. And she physically grabbed me. So if I was on some ignorant tip, I could have threw her down like, "Yo, what? Get your hands off of me." You know what I'm saying?
And then
but I know.
Now you got assault charge on
that.
Now
I get assault charges. Now I know
it's not worth it.
Me being a black person, I have to carry myself with a certain decorum, even another incident that happened. A white woman got arrested because she put her hands on a pregnant soldier, and she was grabbing up the soldier and saying, "Get out my face," and the soldier started recording the lady acting crazy because the soldier's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Get the camera out my face," and she started acting belligerent. The lady actually got arrested, but she got $250 bond and something light and stuff like that. But if the shoe was on the other foot, it would have been like assault charges. It would have like the bail would have been like a decent sized bail.
Someone had done some time.
And it's like, to me, I can't sit there and say like I can continue to deal with the racism. Like, it's really starting to take a toll on me. Like, because you turn on the TV or you just every day is just like, it don't even make sense. You hear the situations and people will say like, "Don't rush your conclusions," this, that, and the other.
Hear the whole story.
But it's just like, how many times do we have to be a victim of racism to just able to deal with it and just have to deal with it? You know what I'm saying? Outside of just school, have you ever had racism at work?
Yeah, not my job now, what you call it, but when I used to work at the group home, which when I first got out of college, whatever, and I purchased an Audi car, and I know the head supervisor was like, he's like, hey B, I hope you're not doing any illegal activity on the job, because I had an expensive car, and he tried to laugh it off because he seen my face was like very stern, but I was just like, he didn't know that I had 2 jobs at the time, so it wasn't like the salary he was giving me, because he figured the salary that he was giving me, how I'm affording a car that's $50,000-$60,000, to plus. Bro, he didn't know I had another job, a whole nother job at the time, so where I could afford a nice car like that and stuff. So he's like, I hope you're not doing any illegal activity. And he tried to laugh it off, whatever, and I didn't even laugh at him. I just kept it moving. But it was just a sign, like, okay, because I got a nice car, I have a nice car, and like all the higher ups had luxury cars, and I was a young person. I was like kind of like the bottom of the barrel of the company, and I got the same kind of car they got. So they trying to figure out how is he affording this?
And you know, why do you immediately go to illegal activity? Why can't it be like, I work hard, I use my money the way that I want to use my money?
He said it like he tried to laugh it off fast because if I was somebody who was really took offense to it, I could have made a case, made it a situation, you know, where they would have investigated. It was a nonprofit organization. They would have did all a bunch of drinks. I laughed it off on some. I didn't laugh it off, but I had a very stern face. And he knew I wasn't thrilled about it, and he tried to, you know, make light about the situation. That happened, and you know, sometimes people will say certain things, even in meetings. You'll hear certain languages and about certain topics, and then it's like, okay, where are we going with this?
And you know, the tough thing about being, you know, black in this country and then working in corporate America, sometimes you kind of wonder, like, you know, is this happening to me because I'm young? Is this happening to me because I'm black? Like, for instance, my racism at work, and it's like, you know, I was a credit manager at a radio station, and you know, one of the salespeople wanted to get an ad on the radio station, and I would have to check the credit of the client. I would check out their background, do they owe us money? I'll pull up their financials if they were new, kind of stuff like that. And then one of the salespeople was just like, you know, he didn't realize I was the credit manager, and then he was just like, oh, what's up, homeboy? You know, I need to speak to your boss because I want to get an ad going on, like an ad on the station. And I was just like, well, I'm the credit manager, so I guess I'm the boss that you need to speak to. And he's just like, nah, come on, man, you're joking. Why am I joking about that?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't know you to call me homeboy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't have that good rapport.
You know, at the end of the day, sometimes it's just like, well, you're young, you're African American. Sometimes they feel like they'll reach you with a certain kind of language, a certain kind of laid back. They'll reach you, kind of stuff like that. But I don't feel like, you know, if I was a white credit manager, he would have been like, hey, dude, what's going on, buddy? You know, it would have been like more of a respect kind of thing.
He felt some you know, it is sometimes, and it's not just about the racism. Sometimes people only stuck in a box and don't only know how to deal with their people. So, like me, I've been around whites and black people since I was young, vice versa, you too. But we don't have to act a certain way once we're around white people. You could act yourself and be regular, but you also want to talk and be professional when you're around those kind of people, right? You're not gonna have the same down to earth conversation me and you would have on a conversation on the phone or maybe with our friends.
We get it.
So,
being African American working in the corporate world, you also you have your work tone and you have your
you got to learn how to separate yourself. But a lot of the times is people are trained the way their parents teach them, right? So sometimes I had white friends that came from, you know, grew up that way, like they never been around black people. So certain things and certain languages and certain situations, they don't know how to go about it because they're like, yo, I've never experienced this. So I might do some things that it might seem out of character, but I've never been around it. But me and you don't have time to dialogue that because we're just looking from outside like, yeah, what's going on?
Even being in the elevator in a corporate building.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I'm in the elevator, you know, a white individual comes on the elevator, maybe even, you know, a white woman coming to the elevator and stuff like that. And sometimes you get this nervousness. Like, my thing is, we're in a corporate building. You know, 9 out of 10 times, I work in this corporate building just like you work in this corporate building. So why am I going to come into this corporate environment where there was security in the front of the building and come assault you in the elevator? I want to get to work just like you want to get to work.
Well, like I said, a lot of the times.
But, you know, you have to smile and you have to be like, you know, overly inviting just so that you can feel like you belong to a certain place. So this next question on this topic, do you think that we could do anything about it? I feel like so much of our image is picked up by what some people see on TV, what people interpret through just music, entertainment, and not necessarily the relationships they form. So I feel like sometimes you're representative of the whole race when you do certain things. So can we do anything to change, you know, the feel of what it is to be black in America and why we have to just be so accommodating.
It's tough. It's just because it's been going on since what? Since our parents was young. So it's like change. It's tough, right? To change your character and the way you grew up and how certain situations are. But I feel like you can approach certain situations in a professional way when it comes to certain situations. Like certain situations, just it is what it is. You can't really sugarcoat it. You can't act differently. But when certain things present itself, you can answer the proper way. You don't have to be enraged, and you could be more patient when it comes to certain things. You know, but it's frustrating, right? You turn on the news, you see another black man dead. You see the Starbucks situation, another situation that happened. He just wanted to use the bathroom. He wouldn't get the code. He wouldn't code. The white kid used the bathroom, code, no problem. He asked the white kid about did he purchase anything? The white kid said no, he didn't purchase anything. So it's like racism is always going to exist, right? But when it happens to you, the best thing to go about it is to say, you know what? You got to bite the bullet on this one and just say, you know what? This person, I definitely will express myself and talk to the person about it in the way and let them know what they did was wrong. But you don't have to be acting rage and give all drama. Like the whole situation with the Sacramento, with the kid that got shot 20 times in the backyard. Yeah. Like, I respect that situation, but his little brother's acting like a fool. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And granted, we all been through situations where hardship happens, but it's how you act. Now you're living on the legacy that the person died. Mm-hmm. So now that the brother in Sacramento got shot and killed, and his brother's acting, he's acting like a fool.
But I think it's also unfair for us to because his younger brother has been tossed into the limelight because of an unfortunate situation. Yeah. But it's not like his younger brother has any training. It's not like his younger brother was prepared to be in the media.
That's true. That's true. So I'm being unfair on that part. You're
right. No, I'm not saying you're being unfair. I definitely feel where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? And certain things like that, don't take instances like that and run with it
and make it. That's when, boom. That's when CNN or Fox will go crazy with a situation like that, right? You say something that happened that was negative that happened to that young man. He got killed in his backyard and got shot 20 times, and Fox 5 would take it like, see, look how his brother's acting.
But they're only continuing to give his brother the limelight because they see he's acting the fool. Yeah. If his brother was articulating himself, well prepared, dropping knowledge, they were like, nah.
They would give him his 3 minutes.
When the news come to the neighborhood, yeah. Sometimes there's a well-dressed black person, well-dressed, ready to articulate him. They'll find a person who look like they never went to school.
Exactly.
And I'm not judging my people, but I'm just saying the media will choose to use whoever they want to make the mouthpiece. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like people who drop these.
It's the reason why when Trayvon Martin get killed, they put the hoodie picture on. They don't put the picture where he graduated high school.
It's a reason why
when Sean Bell get killed by the police, they might put a picture where he got a Yankee cap on or a do-rag on because they want to portray that, okay, yeah, the situation happened to him, but this is his lifestyle. His lifestyle wasn't. But, that's wrong. But what I say is that right there makes you frustrated and mad. Me, even as a black man, to go through things. I go through certain things and I just be like, even conversations, like, we have our brother been in Wall Street since we was kids. Mm-hmm. So they'll be talking about certain dinner places they going to, whatever, and I've been to, and they're like, you been there? Like, even the conversation sometimes, you just like.
I feel like, the narrative, the image, like me, I always think to myself, I'm educated. I got my master's degree. I work in a good company, stuff like that. But then I'm just like, I'm also urban. I'm also hip hop, and I bet you it's just like if something happens to me,
They're gonna put all the pictures up with your jury on.
You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna say where I worked at and stuff like that.
All the pictures with your jury on. The last thing. God forbid.
They're gonna try to find my YouTube of me rapping
exactly.
like he was. And there's nothing wrong with me when I was trying to rap and stuff like that. But it's just like it just shows how messed up this country is, because it's just like, you know, when a person of non-color is a victim, we try to paint their innocence. We go so hard. Even the people who shoot up places, they always try to say, like, you know what, he was a good kid, but he was troubled.
No, what they do is right, when it's not African American people, it always become certain things about mental illness. Oh, mental illness is affecting our country.
Mental illness only affects a certain population.
Mental illness. Listen,
us black people, we crazy.
But then when
other people have mental illness,
and they want to talk about certain things, we had to go about it and how we should have diagnosed them earlier, and then they try to get the medical record. So it's a lot of things is unjust and unfair. But what I say is when you do experience the racism, your best bet is to try to handle yourself in a professional way, or carry yourself where you're going to be calm. And just, you know, when you're in a room by yourself, you vent or just laugh it off, like, you know what? And
I know we need those outlets, and we have to find certain ways to deal with the racism. But I'm just like, how often, or how come we still got to be tired of being sick and tired? Like, I know we have it much better than our parents who had dogs sicked on them and hoses and stuff like that. But it's just like, to me, I feel like it's almost every time a black person dies, they're quick to justify why that person died. No matter how it happens, they released the video of the Alton Sterling.
Yeah.
Early into the situation, the cop said, "I'll shoot you in your effing head. Don't move. Da-da-da-da. I'll kill you." And then they actually said that the cop did nothing wrong. No charges to be against him, and you was just like, wow, like we have video evidence of it. We'll have statements from the people saying, "Oh, I didn't mean that. I was just frustrated." And then, okay, he didn't mean it, so I don't know. It's a conversation we could.
It's an ongoing conversation, but the best bet to do when you are a victim of racism is stay calm. See how you can handle the situation, and you can be frustrated, but be frustrated on your own time, because your frustration could lead your frustration.
But if I was another color, I could be frustrated right then and there.
But listen, this is the world we live in, a society is very dangerous. So your frustration could lead you to getting one day in the newspaper, and then we never talk about you again. So you got to be careful as an African American man, as a black man, both of us as two black men, we gotta be frustrated on our own time, because our frustration could, they're gonna have the story for us for 5 minutes. We're gonna get a good 2 days. We might get 2 days if we was somebody with some kind of importance, and then we're not gonna talk about it no more, because the next person
become a newsreel.
Then you become the next article. So your frustration as an African American adult, even as a young man, be frustrated on your time, on your own time, where you can talk about it with your peers that you feel affected. Because if you're frustrated during a situation, and I'm not just saying all cops, I'm just saying all police, you might come home. You might not see your family again. So it's a sad situation, but you gotta act professional when it comes to situations.
I always tell people, like, you know, I get pulled over by the cops, even though I know it's BS. I always say, you know what, let me just get this ticket. I can fight this ticket. I can't fight to get my life back. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough, because, you know, I still get tickets, and I still sometimes it's just like, you know, get asked questions, especially when you're driving a nice car. You kind of my last couple of cars, well, not the car before, this car and the car I had before that, they always ask, whose car is this?
Exactly.
I'm driving the car, so assume that it's my car.
You know how many times I get stopped? It's because I got the out of town plates and stuff.
But I'm talking about, I have local plates, and they'll still ask me whose car. Okay, so let me move on to this last question, then we can move on to a more upbeat conversation.
Okay.
Do you think being black makes it harder to accomplish certain things?
being black makes it harder to accomplish certain things. Yes, 100%, right? Because, like you said, we talk about racism still exists, right? So you might be going for a certain company. You might work for a certain company. You might want to build yourself. What you call it? You gotta work 10 times harder to show that you're not like everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, that's the thing about the media and everything else. They only portray what they see. So if somebody who's a white, say let's say a Caucasian man, he's running a big company, what you call it, but he only knows this about African Americans. You could have all the credentials, but he might say, you know what, I don't want him a part of my company, not because he doesn't like you, whatever. Boom, he only knows this about black people.
Yeah, I think.
So you gotta work.
When you're African American, your value is
value a little bit less.
It's hard to prove your value. Your value is always taken with a grain of salt.
So yeah,
you can have a certain amount of education. You can have a certain amount of experience. You could articulate yourself, and I feel like you're always second guessed. Like sometimes I'll be in situations where it's just like, you know what? When it comes to this particular situation, I am the most knowledgeable person because I have more knowledge and experience in it.
It's a fact.
But I always feel like I get questioned, I get second guessed, like, you sure? But someone who's just new, who happens to not be African American, will give an answer, and it's like, okay, that sounds good. But I trained this person, and you're not questioning his response, but my response is questioned. And I just feel like, you know, even with the politics, I feel like, you know, just being skilled sometimes as African American, just having the knowledge is not enough. Because if they don't see you sometimes as someone that they could rub elbows with, someone that they might want to play golf with, someone that they want to invite you over to their kids' party kind of thing, then it's hard for them to give you that chance at life, that advancement.
It's crazy, right? But it's like sometimes being African American, like, and I'm no disrespect to this person, but it's like you got to work harder, and it's like they want us to act like Wayne Brady, like, you know, have a Wayne Brady image when certain people, that's just not them. You can't ask somebody who's never been around white people to act like Wayne Brady or act a certain way, like, you know, like Colin Powell. No disrespect.
Yeah, like, why do I have to be docile to be accepted?
These are strong black men. I'm not disrespecting them in any kind of way, but their images where they can be accepted in the white community. Like, you know, OJ was accepted before he got crazy. But what I'm saying is, you got to carry yourself a certain way, being African American, and yeah, you got to act accordingly at all times. So it's definitely 10 times harder being African American.
I'm going to say this last thing, then I'll move on to the next subject. I just feel like the cost of being African American is just so high, and it's getting higher. You know, a lot of times they always say that, you know, African Americans just need to work harder to accomplish things. African Americans just need to work harder to accomplish success. But the system is like almost rigged against them. A quick thing, like, people always talk about how, you know, with wealth, you know, people always want to wonder, you know, why African Americans are so far behind when it comes to wealth. We haven't been able to own property and get a fair chance to own property, own businesses for such a long time because of redlining. It's like they used to make the government, not just politics, the government used to make it difficult for people of color to get loans because they deemed the places where people of color live to be not worthy for them to loan out money for businesses and stuff. So they made mortgages hard. Like, and the number one reason why people of other color have more wealth than people African Americans, because real estate, passing along real estate, when great-great-grandpa was able to buy a house for $12, and then he's been passing along that house and y'all haven't sold it. Or even when you inherit that house and you sell it, and, you know, that house hasn't had a mortgage in 20, 30 years. So when you up and sell that house for $300,000, $400,000, that's $400,000 pure cash that you get.
It's a fact.
Meanwhile, people of color, grandma lived in an apartment, and then maybe I'm lucky enough to get grandma's apartment, but we never owned that apartment.
It's a fact.
So we made the landlord rich for a long time, continuing ongoing, and then that's why we don't transfer wealth. We don't have life insurance policies. So when we die, we gotta hustle up to get money to bury someone.
That's a fact.
People of non-color sometimes when they die, they had a $250,000, $500,000 mortgage, a $500,000 insurance policy. So after their $20,000 of final costs are paid, some people get to pay off the mortgage of their home, and now there's no more mortgage. See what I'm saying? So let me move on to a lighter topic because that was kind of, heavy.
Yeah.
And this topic is called recycling relationships.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want that old thing back. Sometimes you passed up on a situation that could have been a good look, but you wasn't ready for it. And I wanted to explore that. Have you ever recycled a girl from the past, and did it work out?
Nah, I never recycled anybody out. Especially when I was younger, I was a goon when it came to that. I never recycled any relationship, but it was one girl I was messing with where, I didn't realize how good it was until it was over. Like we wasn't in a relationship. We never gave each other the title, but it was one of the situations we was rocking out. But then when I realized like she ain't rocking out with me anymore, I kind of wanted it back. So I was doing little things, whatever, boom, little things out of my character like that I wouldn't normally do. But I tried it out a little bit, but it just doesn't work. I think the best thing to pass is the past, especially if the relationship didn't leave in bad terms. Y'all could still be friends, but being in a relationship is not gonna work out. It's the reason why you left her or the person left you in the first place.
You said something key. I think it's the nature of how the relationship ended, right?
Yeah.
Because recycling.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with recycling if it didn't end
And then bad, yeah.
But sometimes you try to recycle and too much stuff has
too much
stuff has transpired. Like sometimes, that was your first love. But now since she's had 2 baby daddies, 4 kids.
Yeah, like.
And then now it's just like it's too much on the resume.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Sometimes you missed out on a good thing. She was a good girl. She went to go do her thing in school. You was out here slumming it. And now you got 3 or 4 baby mothers and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Now she look even better than she did. And then you trying to holler and she look at you like, yo, you damaged goods.
That's a fact.
But I want to explore the positive side of recycling. And I do think what you can get away from recycling if it's done in the right situation is sometimes relationships break up, and because, like you said, it's the stages of life that you went.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You wasn't ready to like so many girls hit me when I was younger, or I talk to them kind of now, and just like, I always thought you was mad cool, Marv. You was a good dude and stuff like that, but I was looking for a certain kind of dude, and then I see you as a husband, and you doing your thing and stuff like that, and I really messed up. And I don't think it's like because I'm a catch now. I just feel like, the good dudes, the friend zone dudes, whatever you want to call it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Your stock is kind of low when
Yeah.
everyone feel like they're going to bag the perfect person. They're going to bag that, sexy, muscular, make 100,000, make 6 figures, good looking, talented, this and they're out there. But at the end of the day, it's just like everyone has these crazy, I'm gonna just bag super person, and then life happens. Sometimes you were vinegar trying to attract things that honey took, and vice versa. Sometimes you was entertaining stuff that you shouldn't entertain, and then now all of a sudden, the market looks a little different to you.
Yeah.
The girls who were fly as hell in high school, you ever see them now?
Fell off big time. Like,
if I could give any young kid advice, they'll find that cutie who's a nerd and stuff like that, who's a little skinny, maybe her body not there yet and stuff like
transformation.
that. And you might want to put a little work in, because that's BS numbers. I'm not going to give you a real statistic because I don't know.
Yeah, that's bad.
But those joints who were snacks in high school, a lot of them look finished out here.
Oh, my God. I ran into a couple, even from junior high school to now. Life hit them hard.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of joints who was curving dudes.
Life hit them hard. But you know what it is? It's like I said, recycling. You can recycle a relationship if it left in good terms, right? Because what happens is sometimes y'all might have been too young, when y'all was dealing with each other, and y'all was at that different place. If it left on good terms, y'all could go back on it and build on why did it messed up in the first place. But if it was like some kind of domestic violent kind of relationship, or one person was just physically holding the whole relationship together, and it was just a bad situation, you can't recycle a bad situation, because all you're gonna do is make yourself crazy and
you're gonna remember why it didn't work out,
and then you're gonna make yourself miserable, right? So when it comes to recycling a relationship, if it left in good terms, it's something that can happen, because it's something that you could pinpoint. Maybe if it was a younger relationship and older, that why it didn't work out. But
I think the recycling never worked for me, because a lot of the times the situations that I tried to recycle, I would be like, "Oh, baby, what are you doing?" Like, back in the days, I thought this person was the bomb. But then you kind of realize, like, yo, this person didn't have ambition. This person was, like, just chasing, I don't want to say gold diggers, but this person was chasing just the flashy, the D-boys, and like, the flashy dudes and stuff like that. And then once their looks faded, like me, I was never superficial to, I was only chasing after looks. I always was chasing after vibes. But sometimes you vibing with someone that, they see you cool as, the cool dude as a friend, but when you try to, turn the temperature up, they're like, nah. And then you come back years later and you just like, yo, this person was such a dub. I don't know why I was going crazy over that person.
But,
So let me ask the next question. Do you think with growth in your life, you can go back and visit dating someone that it didn't work out with? Because sometimes it was you. It's not always them. Sometimes it was you. So do you think, obviously we're married, but this is hypothetical, like, is there any particular situation from the past that you realized it was you, and if you weren't married, you could go back and visit it? You got to be careful, because
like I said, we both married. It's not when it comes to that. Nah, I don't really have that, because, like I said, when high school and college and stuff, I was a savage, man, when it came to the ladies. So I wasn't really
21 Savage.
Yeah, I was a savage when it came to the ladies. So I never really had that, like, okay, Besides my wife, like, other girls that I messed with, and there was no disrespect to them, we was just having a good time, like.
So you never laid down no foundation?
I never really laid down no foundation with nobody, and even if I was just fabricating something, just being a good actor, because I never, no, I was just being a good actor. Real talk, like even my wife.
You basically saying, I was a kind of a piece of shit back in the day.
That
man.
I was selfish, did a lot of things that just benefit me. I had a chick drive from PA to Queens.
In the storm.
PA to Queens for what? Like a good 4 or 5 months, every weekend, every day. To to come see me. I knew it was nothing serious going on. I knew I was just having a good time, and then, what it is. So I never really had that dynamics where I felt like, but even with my wife, it was her dedication and her sacrifice, and then, me growing up realizing, like, what, and I wasn't never on some superficial joint about the females, even bad girls. It don't do nothing for me, like, to the point where I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to do this, sometimes it takes men time to grow up. And me growing up, I look at more things that's what's important. Me being a parent now, how they're going to be as a mother, and vice versa. But I never had that back and forth dynamics of.
There's no situation really that, obviously I'm happy in my current situation. Yeah. But there's no situation I really could say I could go back and, like, man, I should have acted different. Sometimes, different places in life, like, in college, I met a lot of dope women in college, like women who out here really doing their thing.
Yeah.
And I just realized that, it was a mutual kind of thing. Like, the person didn't really see enough in me that they wanted something solid. And it wasn't something that I was just like, oh man, I need to, like, tie this down kind of thing. So college is the perfect time where you kind of try to figure it out and stuff like that. But then you see some people and you're just like, yo, that person was dope. I could have created something with that person and stuff like that. I don't think I've never treated anyone badly where it's just like, you know, and now that I'm older, I could appreciate them more. I always say that, you know, sometimes people like you and you don't like them, and vice versa. Sometimes you have a crush on people.
Sorry, guys.
No, what I was going to say, I could say that most of the women that I had crushes on, or kind of like, you know, was hoping something would be good. I would say for the majority of them, a lot of them are dope now. They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not embarrassed by it. There's one or two I kind of just like, yo, you a clown. Like, your flavor was off.
Yeah.
But most of them I'm just like, yo, she's a nurse. This one's, you know, a lawyer. This one is like, you know, a high executive at a big company and stuff. Like, I always was attracted to dopeness and not necessarily, you know, just chasing the drawers.
I mean, when it comes to a situation like that, like, I never really had nothing crazy, but I was never a shallow person when it came to relationships, which even if I knew the chick was out of her league, like, no, it's not being.
It sounds crazy.
No, it's not even being cocky or arrogant or whatever. But like, you know, she knew, I knew, and maybe she didn't know. But like, yo, I wouldn't mess with you, but I'd never disrespect. My whole thing is I'm not in the business of disrespecting them or making them feel a certain kind of way. Even, you know, a girl in college, you know. She worked with you at JP Morgan. She was in love with me in college, like since freshman year.
I seen her 2 months ago in the company.
Yeah, she was.
And I never say where I work.
Yeah, she was in love with me in college and all that, what you call it. But to this day, I always, you know, give her respect and treat her a certain way because I never disrespected her in college with her. But she wasn't my cup of tea in college. But you know, she's doing her thing now, and you know, I'm doing good for myself, and you know, is that recycling relationships and looking back, I never really had like no real troubles like that.
I mean, I think if conceptually, you know, I wish that we had someone else who could give their feedback on recycling. I think conceptually, recycling is not a bad thing if you've grown since that situation.
That's a fact.
But then also sometimes, you know, your value of a person at a certain age is different. Like, you know, the women that I thought were dope in high school and college, right now I'm like, that's not enough. That's not enough for me to think that you're dope.
That's a fact.
Because you're not bringing enough to the table. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And this is a complete sidebar, but you know, I was in the car earlier and I'm looking at Instagram, and then, you know, every so often you see like a picture on Instagram and you know, the girl's, you know, body showing, her ass is showing and stuff like that, and you're like, you know what, shorty's attractive and stuff like that, but it's just like you go through their Instagram and just like, yo, this is just pure ass shots. And this is my thing, and you see their followers, like, yo, this joint have 1.4 million followers, and like, I've never heard her speak.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is her value? What is her true?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Like, what's her true value? Like, how do you have 1.4 million followers, and people can't even tell you how your voice sounds?
That's crazy. But that shows you how shallow society is right now. Like, you know what is? I see, and out on Instagram and Facebook, I mean on Instagram, what you call it, I'm known for it too, whatever. I'm not gonna sit there and be a hypocrite, whatever.
I still follow her. I gotta keep it real. I still follow her, but still.
Any girl that have a station wagon or a 45-inch, 45-inch ass.
Explain to them what a station wagon is.
Anybody who has a station wagon or a low rider or 45-inch ass, I follow them. My wife know that. But that shit, it's like characters. There are people that I'm never really gonna be involved with. I just follow them. I like to look at it.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I like a station wagon.
I like a station wagon.
But sometimes I go through the mode where it's just like, yo, I'll scroll through my Instagram and I'm just like, yo, I'm following too many nothings. Yo.
Nah, you know what? I ain't gonna lie. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. Listen. I like looking at the station wagon, the 45-inch ass, what you call it. But honestly, they don't do nothing for me to the point where I'm like, oh man, I gotta keep this up. I gotta act a certain way or work harder to get to what you call it. I'm very comfortable in my situation. I'm glad, honestly, I'm comfortable that I'm married and I'm cool with it. I like nice things and I like living a certain lifestyle and all that. But honestly, I gotta be able to have a conversation with you. Like, if you a dope person and you can hold a conversation, that's gonna lead you a long way because, like you said, the looks and stuff fade away. And people, it's so crazy because you could get $10,000 and turn your whole self into a whole other person.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes Instagram to me is just like porn, right? Like every man listen, hear me out. Every man goes through the situation when you're looking for that scene that you want to, take care of yourself to. You looking at all kind of crazy stuff, and then after you take care of yourself, you start saying to yourself, "Man, I'm better than this." See what I'm saying? So Instagram's the same way. Sometimes I'm scrolling through my gram like, yo, I'm following too many nothings, yo. I start unfollowing them. And then you go through a mode where it's like, yo, that sure is like, all right, let me see what's going on.
It's like you watch 57 minutes of that video, and then you get to the last 3 minutes and realize, what am I doing here? But like the Instagram situation and stuff, like when it comes to that, like you should really try to be with somebody that can hold a conversation. If somebody can hold a conversation with you, what you call that's something.
Not what Instagram is for me.
But not Instagram. But I'm just saying in general, if you want to be in a relationship, I'm not talking about Instagram.
Yeah.
Instagram to me is not real because somebody could be homeless, right? Homeless has nothing at all going on for himself. He can borrow your foreign car, my foreign car, somebody else's foreign car, somebody else chains and watches, whatever, and take 100 pictures. And he be the next popping thing, and then he got 4,000 likes and 5,000.
He live in a storage room.
So that social media thing is not real.
So let me ask this one last question before we move on. Do you think it's easier to recycle or just find someone new?
I think it's you know what? I think it's easier to recycle now when you're older because you're in a work environment, right? You might not have the time. Well, that a lot of people. The reason
that's why there's so many romances at work.
That's what happens. A lot of the time, people recycle because their time is not free. So they go through their notebook and say, they look at the last 4 people they was with, and they try to figure out, Kevin was a jerk. He cheated on me twice. Steve didn't cheat. He's just too of a nice guy. I feel like I was gonna cheat on him. Or they try to look at the dynamics and that work, and that work, the pros and cons, and being at work all the time. Don't give them time to be socially dating all the time. So that's why they recycle. Mm-hmm. But the best bet when you're single is to look for something new.
It's funny. I'm not gonna shout her out, but I was talking to a woman, a female friend of mine, and she's just like, yo, some of the dudes she know ain't crap, but she still keeps them in a circle because she don't want to have 250 bodies. So she's just like, you know what? His penis was okay. I already smashed him, so I keep him in a rotation just so I don't have to add a new body to my situation, even though I know he'll never elevate to someone who I want to be in a relationship with. And some women are comfortable messing with married dudes because it's just like, look, I'm not trying to break up his home. No. I don't want nothing from him. He knows what I want. I know what he wants, and I'm cool with the situation. And they don't think that they're belittling themselves. They just feel like, yo, it's a means to an end. I'm getting mine. He's getting his. I'm not trying to break up his home and stuff like that. I even asked him how his wife is doing. And it's crazy. It's crazy out there. To me, it's like it's easier to recycle or meet someone new. I think like this. If you're going for your soulmate, and there's someone in the history that you know is dope, and just like, yo, I'm not gonna have to take that much time to break them in. We just gotta reacclimate themselves. Then I see the recycling is new. The problem with recycling is history, the past. Is the past really crazy? Is the past good? Yeah. Can I get over the past?
It's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you do the recap in your mind, like, yo, was that person good and stuff like that? You remember some good things, and you're like, yo, that person wasn't that bad. And then you get into the situation, a month, 2 months later, you're like, that's why it didn't work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something new, though, the reason why, sometimes it's easier to recycle, but it's hard with something new. It's something new, you always got to find out, like, all right, when is the real person going to show up? When is the crazy? Because I want to see crazy. I don't care how.
Now you want to because you want to know what you're dealing with.
Men have crazy, women have crazy. I want to know when I'm gonna see the crazy, man. Because how many months I gotta wait to see the crazy? I'd rather you show me crazy early than I know if I can deal with it or not.
But sometimes it's just better to start over in life in general, right? Sometimes you got to start over when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friends, when it comes to just being better, right? So starting over could be a good thing.
Yeah.
I think recycling in relationships is just always bring a negative to it, because you're gonna realize why you stopped messing with the person in the first place. Starting new is you build from the ground up again, and y'all build together. You know,
if you got time, something new is cool.
Something new.
If you don't got time,
if
sometimes that recycling
But that's
works.
why a lot of people do online dating, because of their work environment, right? If you're working a job,
you get the pre-screen. You try to pre-screen with the online dating.
If you working a job 60 hours a week, maybe 70 hours a week, or maybe just, not even don't have to be crazy. It could just be 50 hours, extra 10 hours a week, everything. You don't really got time to learn somebody new. Starting over is hard when you're older, because it's like, you know what you want now. You don't want to tolerate it, but it's a lot of good actors out there. So that's why a lot of times people recycle, because they don't want to find out the new actor that's going on in their life. But I think if I was single, starting new, it builds character, and then you can learn trust from the beginning. I think that's cool.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was single, I probably would want to recycle on the situations when I know, like, this person was dope and they got away, kind of thing. You know, that new, man, is so much. It's so much craziness out here to have to learn, especially after a certain age. Like, when you're younger, you got the energy to figure out something new. As you older, like, yo, I need you to get down with the team and make that situation work. So sometimes it's second work. All right, so we're gonna move on to the last topic. The last topic is dream chasing, right? And don't get it twisted. You know, I'm a big proponent of people chasing their dreams. You know what I'm saying?
It's a fact.
But sometimes you gotta have limitations to the dreams that you're chasing. Like me, sometimes if you follow my Instagram or Instagram Views from the Friend Zone, I might drop a freestyle because I still feel like I enjoy what's the name. But I'm not saying like, yo, I'm about to quit my corporate job, put out a mixtape,
go full throttle with it.
Become a rapper. It's not that I don't think I have the skill. I just feel like you reach a certain age. You over 35 and you haven't had any success. I commend you on your commitment, but I hope you're getting money elsewhere.
It's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not making no money and you still want to be a rapper and you never had any success. So the first question is, how old should you be before you stop certain dreams that are far-fetched, like a rapper, athlete, a singer, musician?
All right. One thing I'm gonna say is, as an athlete, after you're 35, it's over for you. And as an athlete, because you physically don't have the same athleticism, speed, stamp, whatever. You're not going to be the same person. That's why most basketball players, they start off playing at 20, they retire at 35, or you start seeing they're on their way out at 35, right? Football is the same way. Once they get to they play 5 to 7 years. They might come out football's a little older. They might come out at 24 years old. They might get good 10 years in them if they're lucky. Certain positions, 34, 35, that's when they're capping. The thing I say about music is it's a lifetime contract. You don't ever have to stop. Because people don't realize. No. I'm saying it's ages. No. Listen, when you dope, you dope. Rick Ross started rapping. Listen, Rick Ross started rapping at 92. Rick Ross didn't start getting popping till he was like 38. And he was like in this. He was like 30. Rick Ross is like 42. And 05, Rick Ross probably was like 36, 37. Rick Ross was like 43, 44 more.
Yeah, but 05 was 13 years ago, Cliff.
Okay. Rick Ross is a different story.
Rick Ross got popping at like 28, 29 kind of thing.
Nah, a little later than that.
My G.
2 Chainz. Okay, 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz wasn't popping until 3-4 years ago. And 2 Chainz is 2 Chainz like 44,
He's had
45.
some levels of success. This is my thing. I'm not knocking what you're saying.
Music,
those cases you're stating is so of a case.
No,
I'm talking about like you're mixed. Like no one gives a damn about what you're doing.
No, you can't do yeah. That's just living a dream for yourself now, right? But with music, you can stretch it out a little bit, right? Rock and roll people, they go to 100 and still make money and still be relevant and all this. You know what I'm saying? Like, rap is different. You're right though. Rap it just have a cap. I think rap cap is around.
And I think aspiring rappers out there, like, yo, if you dope, keep pushing and stuff like that. But like, you gotta have plans. You gotta sit down and have, like, you know, this is how I make money, but the music is always gonna be my love.
Yeah, I think rap cap is around 40. After 40, you should hang it up. Even, you know why? The reason why I say 40 is because listen. I
feel like if you already popping, you can go to 50. But if you're not popping at all, and you want to start at 40,
I know at 40.
you're hurting yourself.
You know what? No, listen. The reason why I say 40 because at 40, if you come out with some bangers. What you know, if you come out with some bangers, you could go to 45 with it. Yeah. You know what? Listen, at 45, and people could listen. Because you got to think about Nas and Jay-Z. They've been doing 20 years plus, right? They 44, 45.
They're legends.
So they're legends. But what I'm saying is, if you coming out with straight, like, that's going to take people out music, you go. I think 40, I think 45 is the cap. Because you're music, you're expressing yourself.
Yeah.
As an athlete, I can't be 45 years old saying, I'm signing up for the next draft. Your body physically can't handle it. But expressing yourself.
You're right. The musician has a better shelf life. But I feel like, if you're a rapper and like you haven't picked up steam and you're 36, like you don't have no connections, you don't have no steam and stuff like that. Go ahead, continue to pursue your dreams, but like you setting yourself up for a huge failure. So let me move on to this. As like me, growing up, my next question is like growing up, my dream was the rapper kind of thing, and yours was a basketball kind of thing. So when you felt like your dream of the fantasy job ended, how did you shift your perspective of success? Of like, how did you change your dreams? Like, I stopped wanting to be a rapper around the time that I met my wife. When we got serious and I got married, I'm like, yo, I'm a husband now, yo. Like, you know, I really got to figure out this life shit. You know what I'm saying? This rap can't be life. I gotta get money to pay these bills. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? When my dream stopped and it was a little...
I'm not blaming my wife for killing my dreams.
I
want to make that clear.
We're not blaming anybody.
It gave me perspective on what was real out there.
I deaded my dream like 21-ish, 22.
I thought you deaded your dream too early.
Because you know what it is? At one point, I was getting recruited from Division I schools, like, you know, a little mix, and that was my goal, to play Division I. When it didn't happen to me, and I had to do the JUCO route and stuff.
You could have still walked on.
But like, I was getting more of, you know, I was getting recruited, like I was getting Division I schools after me, calling me, you know, and which I was buzzing. Once I put it out there, once I got kicked out of prep school, and then I had to do the whole JUCO route thing. Basketball was never the same for me. I think I was just doing it because I did it all my life. But I commend people who kept going, because there's people that had. So
how did you shift your dreams? Like, what did
I
you shift
my dreams. It wasn't about shifting my dreams. I just looked at it as, you know what? I let it go, but I focused more. Like, that's not focused more on school, but I knew I could do something else for myself, you know. Yeah. And I still play basketball for fun and recreation here and there when I could have. But after 21, I realized it was over. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was no NBA, it was no this and that. Yeah. And then you know what? At 21, because you become an adult to know that I physically couldn't handle coaches playing games anymore. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Leading, giving you false hope and everything. So I say after 21, for me, I tell somebody, go to 30 if you can. Go overseas bag, go get a check, whatever. Yeah. But after 21, to me, I was like, man, I can't do it no more.
You know what?
So
I feel like I was born, even though I'm still young, I was born in the wrong era. Like, if I was a youngster now, like, you got Instagram, you got YouTube, you got Facebook. You got so many ways to, like, build your own follow. Like, even back in the 90s and early 2000s, you could have built your following, but you didn't have Instagram. You didn't have Facebook. You didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's just like everyone was chasing to be signed.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you don't have to be signed to create real income. So, you know, I chased the dream to like 26, and then after that, I was just like, yo, man, like, yo.
Yeah, mine was 21. 21
it it started become sounding embarrassing when you was like, yeah, I want to be a rapper. It's like, you know what I'm saying? No, but I don't want to be negative because I know I have older cats who are still rhyming, still producing and stuff like that. Like, go for it if that's you. But for me, I didn't have any success. I didn't have any success where it's just like, yo, something happened that made it, you know, that crazy for me. So the last question I have, and then we're gonna wrap up, is there anything you wish you would have did different to make your dream happen?
Honestly, the thing I would have did different was I would have worked on my weaknesses instead of working on my strength. And you know, as a basketball player, I was a good scorer. I can get the buckets. It wasn't about getting points. I could score, but it was a lot of things that I wasn't the fastest. I could rebound good. I had a good basket, a decent handle. Jump shot was pretty decent, whatever. Boom. But I could. In New York, we was known for going to the rack. I could go to the hole and get buckets. That was, you know, whatever. I would have worked on my weaknesses, like, you know, just training better, got my body more in shape. I would have been more like in the weight room at an early age. And then also I would have put in extra work. As a basketball player, I could say it now as a grown man, I cheated myself. Mm-hmm. When you hungry and you love your dream, you're supposed to give it 100%. As a basketball player who played played up to 21 seriously competitively, I think as a basketball player I gave myself 70%. Because 30%, if I would have put the extra 30, I definitely could have did some things. Because I'm not saying I was the best in the world. Anybody who know, I could compete. So, and I like to compete. 30% I let coaches dictate me. I let the fact that, you know, I was just getting frustrated. The fact that I did go through trials and tribulations, getting kicked out of school, and then had to go to junior college route. I could talk about it now because I'm a grown man, but I let certain things happen to me that I only give 70%.
Yeah. I would say the only thing I could do different is just like you said, I grew up in a time where we didn't have the platforms that we have now. Only thing I would say is different is just like, you know, I would have had more confidence in myself in the music kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I was good, but I didn't feel I was that good to like really make sacrifices for it. So it was always just, you know, I like making music, I like writing, but I wasn't. If I could give any advice to anybody, it's just like, yo, that's your thing. You got to eat, sleep, breathe.
100%, 100%.
Your music and your passion. If you half-assing it, like you said, if you just, you're not going to achieve
that's
success.
the results you're going to get.
That's why I respect a lot of these young dudes who like the mumble rappers and stuff. Like, we don't think that they're that great, but they live, eat, sleep, and breathe their craft.
That's a fact.
And that's how them to make it. Well, that's the end of the episode. You know, had a good time talking about these things. You know, we'll be back next week with guests. You know, want to do any shout-outs before we head out?
I just want to elaborate on some of the topics we was talking about. Like you said, chase your dream and don't make excuses. A lot of time we make excuses in life so we don't get stuff done, right? I realized me as a grown man in my 30s that the fact that I don't certain things, I don't make excuses, I get a lot of things done, you know. And don't be afraid to talk to others and get advice and use that to your advantage, because somebody could be younger than you but just has the knowledge and could teach you something. I don't care if the person is 16 years old. If he's doing something I see that I want to follow and pay attention and it's positive, I'm going to look at it. Like I said, like you said, chase your dream, work hard, and, you know, keep going, because you got to believe in yourself for things to happen. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, if I could add on to that, it's just like, yo, if you out here, you know, you in your 20s. I mean, forget the age. If you out here, you know what I'm saying, you don't have crazy responsibilities, you don't got a mortgage on your head, you don't have no kids to feed and stuff like that, like, yo, keep chasing your dreams. But, you know, at a certain time, like when you do have these things in your life, you got to really figure out if, you know, your dream is what it should be. Sometimes maybe being the rapper or that star wasn't your dream, but maybe you could work in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to mend our dreams, but still keep going. And that's it. Like I always say, you know, chase your legacy, not liabilities. We out.
Peace.
Views from the friend zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo. Views from the friend zone. I'm trying to reach the end zone. You think I'm kinda sweet and you wanna be friends though? It's cool though. Just don't try to play me for no fool, yo.